travel a lot in countries where women are often sort of hidden away and in Purdah quarters, and so actually as a woman reporter you have an advantage because you can meet everybody, whereas my male colleagues cannot go into those women quarters, so actually there's half the population they're not being able to speak to. I used to also feel that in some ways you were safer being a woman because there was a certain honour towards women and respect, and I think that's changed now with the situation with IS and beheadings and all the sort of terror attacks recently. I'm pretty busy because also I'm finishing another book actually, and I travel a lot in my work. I just came back from Afghanistan a few weeks ago. This book is about Afghanistan and Pakistan going back to the 80s when the Russians were in Afghanistan, so looking at how we got into the situation that we're in today with NATO forces coming into Afghanistan and then eventually having to leave without really having defeated the Taliban. So it's trying to explain but as much about Pakistan as it is about Afghanistan. First met Malala at the beginning of last year in Birmingham when she'd just come out of hospital and was living with her family in a rented flat in Birmingham in England. And I had been contacted by them to see if I would help her write her book, because some years before I had met her father, who was a peace activist and a headmaster, and I had interviewed him. So when they were thinking about needing someone to help her write a book, they thought they needed somebody who knew Pakistan and was a woman and would be sort of able to maybe explain cultural issues and things to a Western audience, having sort of experienced it themselves. So that's why they contacted me, and meeting her was amazing. She's very unusual, unique person. She's very earnest, very intense, and very kind of eloquent and passionate, but she's also a very warm person. So I remember going to that apartment the first day and you know, her sitting down, making sure that I was comfortable on the sofa, bringing me a cup of tea and biscuits. And there's huge demands on her because she, you know, is the most famous schoolgirl in the world, and everybody wants her to talk and to address them and to lend her name to things. And at the same time, she's trying to be a normal schoolgirl and do school exams. And, you know, only 2 years ago was in hospital in a critical condition in a coma. So, you know, still gets tired, and so it's very difficult balancing all of that. Sadly, there is still around 60 million children around the world not in school. And Malala's campaign is not just for girls, it's boys as well. And a lot of those children not in school, it's not just because of Taliban or extremism, it's also poverty and child labour and other issues. So, and these are very complicated things you can't resolve overnight, but the world had committed, the UN had signed up to the Millennium Goals to have all children in primary education. It is a basic right, and I think it's pretty shocking that in this day there's still so many children not at school. So Malala is sort of recognised everywhere now, so she has a great platform to try and make a difference, and the book is also a good way of sort of getting her message to people who can't actually meet her physically.